Bitcoin is mooning on its way to Mars. Holy shit, we got a show for you tonight. Till it ain't, back by popular demand. We're going to go through where we got cut off because the CIA pulled our cord. These fuckers. Hold tight. I'm going to set the stage. We're going to do a little 3-minute. We're going to do a little 3 minutes of green onions. For you carnivores out there, don't worry. Just this stuff's gonna go straight into your ear balls. Sit tight. I'll be back in 3 minutes. All right, let's get it going. Yeah. All right, we'll be back in 2 or 3 minutes, guys. Hang tight. There we go. Booker T and the MGs, ladies and gentlemen. Fucking dope ass green onion song. Let me pull in our guest tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, back by popular demand, Till It Ain't. Till it ain't, till it ain't. Oh, welcome.
Well, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Listen, I gotta tell you, the chat we had, the first discussion we had was just fantastic. Unfortunately, the CIA pulled our plug. I spoke to old boy Trump. I said, listen, guys, here's the deal. We got some serious shit to throw down. And he was like, all right, no problem. You guys just run with it. We ain't going to pull the plug. We know you're spitting truth like fire. Welcome back, Till It Ain't. How you living?
I'm living. I'm doing real good.
Awesome.
Thanks for asking. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much. I'm good. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but Bitcoin broke 30,000.
I heard.
And thankfully I lost it all. Unfortunately, I lost it all in a tragic boating accident. But what I decided to do was I think it's just more appropriate to not hold any Bitcoin and just enjoy the uh, just the transformation of the world because of this foundational money.
Mm.
And why in this way I can be unbiased in what I'm talking about. Um, I mean, maybe you hold some, maybe you don't. I don't know. Have you had any boating accidents?
Uh, I'm just interested in investigating, same as you, just keep a clear head, unbiased.
Right.
Just, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mhm.
So, so let me just, for those of you who I don't know how it's possible, but if you missed the first episode, um, what we basically got into was, well, you have a Chihuahua named Zappa,
I have a 60-pound Chihuahua.
a pit bull Chihuahua,
Yeah.
uh, and that's cool. A Unique XRP Chihuahua, 60 pounder.
Mm. Mm. Mm-hmm.
And just to recap, and then from there, remind me, we sort of got into basically the idea that putting lead into
Oh yeah.
hot bodies is basically the equivalent of stacking sats, and
Ish.
ish, and but like a 10x, maybe 1,000x better,
Mm-hmm.
because, and we can get into this is a whole nother rabbit hole, but basically for 10,000 years, putting lead into target was the way to like overcome your problems, but then you just basically committed original sin,
Mm.
which was fucking murdering somebody to implement your own ideas. And
Mm-hmm.
so here what we're saying is, what you can do is you can, instead of like chopping somebody's head off, you can metaphysically, or rather economically, explain to the world like our ideas are superior in an economic sense, and we're stacking sats, and we're accomplishing that without killing people.
Mm-hmm.
That was sort of, I think, if I want to put it,
Mm-hmm.
if I can put it
Mm-hmm.
in a nutshell, that was sort of the first discussion we had. Yeah.
Yeah.
and and then at the very end, when the CIA pulled the plug, was where you were saying like, we can talk about good versus evil, and then it was like, oh, the Pope was like, we ain't having that shit because that's going to ruin our scam, because we've been
Mm.
running that shit for like 5,000 years. So that's where I was like, yo, I called up my boy Trump, and I was like,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
bro, we got to get this out, because we've got thousands of years of, if you can imagine, like sediment, like a muddy swamp. Like he's talking about draining the swamp. What we're talking about here is draining the swamp in terms of like getting the words polished off, because they're all grimy and greasy. And when you look at the word sin, when you look at the word evil, you look at it in a foggy, like you don't see what actually those words are meaning. And this is what you were talking about, and this is the whole reason we came back here to like talk, just
Mm-hmm.
jive on this kind of shit, because this is, and you brought this up to me, and it like blew my mind, really, it really did. And not to put too much pressure, but that's basically like, it's it's amazing. So I don't know, maybe before we get into that, I don't know if you have any lead off thoughts, questions, comments, but I mean, I just kind of threw you into the lions on
threw,
that one.
threw me right in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
guess
mean,
like
just whatever you. I mean, what are you drinking right now? What are you drinking? Let's start off
oh
easy.
well shit. I'm just drinking a little Cote d'Aron.
Okay, nice. Cheers.
Cheers.
And happy
Drink a little
January
red.
3rd, by the way. Yeah.
Happy January 3rd.
Cheers.
Had I had some Bitcoin,
Yeah,
I would hold the keys to that shit, right?
you goddamn right.
Uh-huh.
Not your,
Mm-hmm.
not your keys, not your coins.
And I heard it's like a
Car-
happy birthday Bitcoin there, hey? Mhm.
That's what the kids are talking about these days. I
That's what I hear on the street. That's the
that's
word on the street.
that's what's up.
Yeah.
If I had any of those things, that would be cool. But that's a whole nother thing.
Mhm.
We're on planet Earth. We're beyond coins. We're getting into the heart of the matter. We're zeroing in on the heart of darkness. We're finding the light at the end of the tunnel. When he talks about the horror, what he's really saying is, uh, the words that we're using today are not accurate. And like, I don't know, like, so this was something kind of we DM'd, right? This
Mhm.
idea of, um, um, because there's this idea. So let me just, maybe I can set the stage for us.
Sure, sure. Yeah.
Um, so basically, there's this idea that evil is somehow. Let me try to define it in the um, colloquial way that people use it, right? Which
Mhm.
which is um, simply the intention of harmful outcomes.
Mhm.
Meaning, if I do something evil, what I'm doing is I'm trying to, or I am harming you,
Mhm.
uh, in a intentful way. Meaning, my goal here is to willfully, intentionally cause harm to you. I think that's the it,
That's like the gist of what's going on right now, or how most people would probably define it, right?
yeah, 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 exactly. But
Yeah.
what you've like sort of unearthed for me in my thinking, because just through DMs and shit, was like, um no, wait a second, like this Milton quote that you so you
Mm.
actually if you want to just elaborate, because you tweeted out this just dope ass thread, and maybe you could rehash that, or
Yeah, we can. Yeah. I mean, not the whole thread, I suppose, but like the Milton part.
yeah, 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 exactly,
I think that what Breedlove had quoted that, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Had quoted Milton from
Our
Paradise
most brilliant
Lost.
our most brilliant idea
Hmm.
was his piece
What an
where he
article.
touched on that. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm. So the idea that evil is the force that believes its knowledge is complete.
Bingo.
Yeah, bingo.
And so I mean, let's riff on that. So I mean, we're not talking about harmful intent, right?
Hmm.
Um, what,
We're talking about acting from a space, yeah, without complete knowledge. So we don't realize the outcomes necessarily are going to hurt another person or group of people, right? Is that what we're going for here?
well, I mean, you tell me. I mean, look,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to. I simply would like to get a better understanding of these words, because I find
Hmm.
that I mean, this dude Milton, I mean, he seems to be legit.
That phrase really solidified some shit I've been working through for my entire life, if not several months of legitimate ripping my brain apart trying to understand good and evil. So yeah, I mean, like that. I think his work was helpful for me, definitely.
So let's try to elucidate
Mm.
ourselves, and perhaps any one that might come across this conversation. So can you repeat the quote again for a second?
Yeah, it's evil is the force that believes its knowledge is complete.
Okay, so let's so okay, so let me sort of set the stage with a simple question. Do you get out of bed in the morning with the I mean, what races or peoples are you looking to kill when you get up in the morning?
None. No
None.
races or peoples.
Oh,
No.
interesting.
Mm-mm.
Well, maybe you would be, or maybe you won't be surprised to hear, but that's I also have no lists of races or genders or anybody on my list
Mm.
of people that I'm looking to whack when I get
Mhm.
up in the morning. So here's something interesting. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being nobody, 10 being everybody, what number of people wake up in the country of China or Russia or Yugoslavia or Iraq or Iran or Australia or Brazil or Mexico or Afghanistan or Pakistan or any North Korea, South Korea, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, the Philippines, Japan, Canada. Well, forget about Canada. I mean, that's a whole nother story. But
Oh my god.
I'm just joking. I'm just joking because I'm just fucking playing.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Now, what percentage of those people, scale of 1 to 10, 1 being nobody, 10 being everybody, wakes up in the morning deciding, hmm, I think I want to go kill some of these people in the morning. Just ballpark number, 1 to 10. What do you think everybody's at? Just ballpark.
I'm guessing right around 1. I haven't met everybody,
Yeah,
so I don't know, but
maybe even
I
zero.
would.
Maybe even zero.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't met everyone. I
Yeah,
haven't talked to every single
sure,
person in the world, so I can't.
sure.
But I'm just fully guessing right here. This
Yeah,
is just gut,
yeah,
fully guessing.
yeah. No, for sure. I mean, uh,
Most people are trying to just like handle their shit,
yeah,
get through their day,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like no, I don't know that many people that are like waking up like, all right, these are the people, these are the races, these are the genders, and we gotta obliterate it.
These women, these lesbians, the these black people, these Mexicans, these white privileged people. I
Mm-mm.
am these white privileged people over 40 years old with a political position and power. I have them. I got them lined up. I mean, that's what I get up in the morning and I say, today's the day we're going to take care of these people, and that's going to solve everybody's problems. No,
Mm.
no, nobody,
No.
nobody, nobody. Okay, so evil is just could you say it one more time because it's super important. What's the
Evil is the force that believes its knowledge is complete.
okay? Okay. So let's try to unpack that. Okay, with that sort of as this stage being set. So, in other words, nobody is waking up in the morning deciding, I just want to genocide for some folks. I mean, you
Hmm.
could make the argument there is a small group of statists. Maybe they're in the church or the government or whatever. There might be like some small, super tiny percentage of psychopathics that get up in the morning with a checklist of like, I want to genocide this group of people. I suppose that's
Mm.
possible. Maybe, right? On the scale of
Hmm.
possibilities, let's say that's possible. But I would say by and large, um, let's just take the worst case example. Let's assume that that's the case. Let's assume that there's people in power that are looking to genocide some groups of people, and that's
Hmm.
their like mo, right?
Hmm.
Okay, so are they going to hire people with that same psychopathic trait, like on your resume? Do you have to have the headline saying, fuck, I mean, who can I genocide today? Is, is
Mm.
that is that how they're hiring people?
I have no idea. I've never tried to be hired by them.
What I mean, what kind of mental possibilities are we talking about here? Forget about it. It's madness. No, nobody, nobody that nobody knows. It's like I just updated my CV. Thank God I had the fucking uh, great idea. I decided I'm going to genocide everybody. I put that at the top of my resume. Holy shit! I got
Mm,
hired, and now I'm working for the CIA. It's a beautiful thing.
that's not a thing.
No, nobody's doing that. So,
Mhm,
so let me pull it back to reality. Okay.
mhm,
So I think the assumption we're making then basically is that no, genocidal maniacs are not operating the world, but instead there's just normal people trying
mhm,
to increase the amount of money they um, have in possession of themselves. Because
mhm.
what does money do? It solves future uncertainty. So,
Right.
so you can
Per your last episode.
so so that being the incentive, uh,
Mhm,
then if that's the assumption that that's the incentive, okay.
mhm,
It's not I'm gonna genocide this group of people, it's I'm gonna try to make more money
mhm,
doing these things,
mhm.
uh, and so this begs the question, is this idea of evil operating in incomplete knowledge, is it possible that basically we could refine the word evil as somebody or as something that um, is operating without the best set of knowledge. I mean, basically, that's what we're saying.
Mhm.
That um, that there's a lack of understanding. Uh,
They don't have all the pieces, right? Or we could say we could call it ignorance even, maybe.
yeah,
Potentially, you could exchange evil for ignorance. That's someone operating without all the full set of knowledge, all of whatever they're looking at, all of that entails. Does that make sense?
I think so. And so I guess what we're driving at, or at least what I in my mind I'm driving at, is that this idea of evil um, is not somebody waking up in the morning wanting to genocide people.
Mhm.
It's somebody waking up in the morning wanting to put more money in their bank account.
Right. For whatever, for their family, for future uncertainties, right?
I mean,
So most of these people, if we're talking, I feel like we keep going back to like politicians or what have you. So if that's the case, the best way to get more money is to be really fucking good at the fiat system if you are a politician, right?
which is the money currently.
Yeah. So if we're looking at evil as operating from a space to do harm to someone, you can definitely say, damn, politicians are super evil. Everything they're doing is causing a lot of harm to
Mm,
most citizens. When in actuality, they're just doing they're just utilizing the system that they're within to get more money or to add more power to the system itself because it's just I mean systems within the fiat exist to perpetuate themselves, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So they're operating without complete knowledge, right? Like there's another option now outside of fiat.
What's that? XRP?
Oh, for fuck's sake. So there's another option now that operates outside of that fucking system, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah, so that's available. So
Litecoin.
Litecoin, I haven't heard of that one. Have I?
I don't fuck.
Is that a good one? Should I buy some of that shit?
No.
Just kidding.
Fuck no. Fuck no.
I'm playing. I don't know. I'm rambling. Where am I?
Planet Earth. Welcome. And I'm Zach of Earth. This is Till It Ain't. If you're just joining us, basically what we've been talking about is the realization that evil is not some sort of actually I just had this epiphany as I was saying this. We've been sloppy with our usage of the word evil. I think there are evil people in the world, those that are looking to genocide people. And I think that's a real thing. But to say that so I guess this is interesting. It just occurred to me as I'm thinking this out loud here with you. But you could the use of the word evil. So Milton says, well, it's people operating without a full set of knowledge, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he doesn't say it's people. He said it's a force operating without complete knowledge.
A force. So you want to?
I'm just saying. I'm just. You're saying people. He's saying force. Those are,
Well, I mean, now we're really starting to get.
If we're really trying to like get into semantics here.
You want to go into that a little more, like?
Not necessarily. I just was correcting you.
Okay. So you really threw me off on that for a loop there. So, because well, no, I mean what is the force that's moving people's decisions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I think you were talking about people who wake up and decide that like some sort of race or gender or whatever, some sort of group of people shouldn't be allowed to be in existence anymore. You're talking about that.
Yeah. So I mean, what would you? I mean, I think you have to use the word evil there. I don't know what other word you would use.
Yeah, but what's the point? Why do they want to take out that whole group of people? Because they think the world will be better without them?
Okay, great. No, very good. Okay. No,
I think they're still operating from a lack of fucking full knowledge there. They think, oh, the world would be better without this entire group of people in it.
Okay. This is super. Okay, great. Very nice. So, in other words, what you're saying is, oh, this is fantastic. So bottom line, end of the day, tell me this person looking to genocide people who we would call evil. I mean, I guess what they're trying to do is they're trying to make life better for themselves.
Right.
Right?
I guess. Yeah.
I mean, I can only imagine they're not, unless they're a masochist or a sadist. Again, there is that small percentage, but that's the word to use for those people. It's not evil, right? So, and I think that's why I think this quote by Milton is just tremendously powerful and insightful. I mean, who was it recently? Oh shit. Somebody tweeted out recently. Oh shit, what's his name? MTC Chad. Do you know the guy?
Yeah, that's familiar. I think I follow that guy.
Just give me a second. Let me see if I can find him. He was saying basically, he was quoting. Have you ever watched the movie The Big Short?
Yeah, long time ago, but yeah.
Okay, so he was quoting. Or no, it might have been Labrahodl actually. Now that I'm thinking more about it, he was basically saying that I should find it here. I'm not going to be able to find it. I'm just jammed up here in my notifications. But basically, he was quoting Big Short. Now I sort of lost my train of thought, but the idea is that, or maybe you want to just ramble on for a minute because let me find this. Now I have to find this.
Well, I know we were talking about people getting rid of an entire group of people to make allegedly the world better
Yep.
from their point of view. So that's where we were with that. If you lost your train of thought,
No, but I'm gonna need like at least 3 minutes. So if you could just.
at least 3 minutes. I don't have anything to ramble on about that's not going to distract from what you're investigating over there.
All right, let's take. This is important. If it's okay with you, I'll take a 3-minute break. I need to find this tweet.
Sure.
I'm gonna pull back in some green onions.
Excellent.
Can I do that? Can we take a 3-minute break?
Yeah, I think we can do that. We can do whatever we want.
Okay, let me do a 3-minute break. I'm gonna come back, okay? All right, we'll be back, ladies and gentlemen. 3-minute break. See you on the other side.
Deal.
Well, I didn't find it. Basically, it was truth is like poetry. Nobody wants to hear it, or something like that. And I guess the reason why that's relevant is because Milton was a poet-ish, and he was saying that evil is this force that's operating on knowledge that's incomplete, and that is poetic, and it's truthful, and nobody wants to hear about it.
Sure.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Planet Earth. For those of you just joining us, this is Till It Ain't. I'm Zach of Earth. How you living?
Here we are. Cheers.
So I don't know. I'm not sure if we made any progress on this idea of evil. Um, if I could, maybe I'll try to summarize. Basically,
Yeah, sure.
what we're trying to do is we're trying to, in my opinion, and maybe this is your opinion as well, is just just dig into this Milton thought that um, somebody that wakes up in the morning looking to genocide a group of people is doing it because they think they are going to have a better life because of it.
Hmm.
And what they don't understand is that that's not the most um, advantageous way to go about it.
Hmm.
However, I mean, you could make the counter argument here. Now I'm thinking out loud. You can imagine some group of space aliens coming to kill us all. I mean, put yourself in the shoes of, let's say, the Native American Indians,
Hmm.
and they were getting genocided. Uh,
Hmm.
what option do you have? I guess you have to fight back and try to kill them all. But in that situation, you're so the technology
Hmm.
is so outmatched. You're going to get destroyed. So
Well, and you're talking about fighting back. That's different than deciding to go slaughter a whole group of people to take their shit.
okay,
Like I would rather not physically harm someone or take someone's life. But if it comes down to me,
oh, I see.
if it
Offensive
comes down to
versus
me,
defensive.
right? Yeah, if it comes down to me like making sure my family is okay,
So you're
I
saying
don't I don't want to take a life and I would hope I never have to, but like that would be something that would, push comes to shove. I don't know. I really hope I would never be in that situation.
so. If just to simplify, I think we're talking about offense versus defense. Like
Hmm.
you wouldn't on the offensive side, you going to genocide Native American Indians doesn't make your life better. You might think it does, but the long term reality is there. You don't know, for example, what, let's say, medicines or just knowing the nature or just just the life that they lived. You All that gets lost immediately versus going and killing off the whole continent.
Killing a bunch of people to take their land and their shit, you mean? Versus,
Yeah, so on the flip side, the evil person looking to take all their land, they certainly, you can make a strong argument that they're in a better position now because they have more land um, than they had before. No,
yeah.
so how do you counterpoint that? Then how do you say, well, they weren't evil in what they did by genociding a whole
No, they
population?
were. They were acting without complete knowledge.
So, but I guess what you have to do then is you have to demonstrate what they lost by taking that action. I guess
Hmm.
the loss you could make an argument for is their soul.
Yeah, that's some karmic shit, right? I guess it depends on if you're into that or not.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, you could make the argument that there was no just um, transaction, right? So
Hmm.
so that I guess there was some treaties and what forth. I don't know why I'm going off on this tangent on North American Native Americans, but I guess it's a good example. Like it's a good
Hmm.
recent
It's
example.
it's hard not to look at a group of people coming and slaughtering another group of people
Yeah, yeah,
as not as I think we're trying to tack down good and evil
yeah,
or evil right now.
yeah.
And the idea that evil for a lot of people means actions with a malicious intent or a harmful intent.
Yeah.
Right? That was like where we started at.
Yeah.
And we're saying no, it's not necessarily like a malicious or harmful intent. We're saying per Milton, it's a force that's acting or believes its knowledge is complete. I think that's where we are.
Yeah, no, exactly.
So like I think my reason I'm trying to define evil, the reason I'm spending so much time and thought on it is because I think now more than ever we're stuck in these dichotomies and this narrative of us versus them. And so like my side's good, their side's evil. I think that's going on in society like a lot right now. And it's causing immense separation and immense division between people when in actuality we have a lot more in common. And it's like the division is being pushed. Maybe
It's profitable.
it's profitable, right? So I think that's why I've been wrestling with it so hard is I've been trying to understand like, okay, what I really want to understand the definition of good and evil, and I want to understand the separation that's occurring on numerous spaces, not even just people like religious people or status people. It's it's a lot of people. It's like left versus right, or straight or gay, or if I could ad nauseum. There's a million right now, right?
Yep.
I think and that shit breaks my heart, and I want to understand it better. And I think the division is very detrimental for us as a species. So that's why I've been trying to understand it better. And I think Milton like clicked some shit for me.
Yeah. No. For me as well. I mean, it's I think it's deeply it's extraordinarily powerful, that simple phrase that evil's effectively a force operating without perfect knowledge. And you could let's juxtapose it against, let's try to define good, and we could simply state that given a certain situation of facts, good would be operating with a set of more information and more
Mm-hmm.
knowledge, more complete
Mm-hmm.
information.
Mm-hmm.
So you could almost, what we're talking about is, perhaps, I'm throwing this out there, sort of the scientific method where we say we test, we look at the results objectively, we hypothesize, and we try again. In other words, an evil action is simply a ignorant action, in the sense that you're going ahead and taking an action that you shouldn't necessarily do, because you didn't complete the experiment in terms of the thought process.
Mm.
Like there's more information there available to you, and you operating without that information is sort of a negligence of your thought process. And maybe that's the evilness, is that's the negative nature, is that, or the ignorance. It doesn't necessarily need to be negligence, it could be ignorance, whatever it might be. Again, we're not talking about malicious intent here. I think that's the point we're trying to drive here, is
Mm-hmm.
that an evil action isn't necessarily a malicious intent. And I think that's where, and that's the point you're trying to make, is that it's not us
Mm-hmm.
versus them, because as soon as you get into us versus them, then you bring into this conversation this sort of, let's call it fake news notion of evil,
Mm-hmm.
where it's no, it's you're misdefining, you're negligently defining evil. If you are the good person with more information, and you're calling the person with less information as evil, you yourself are committing an evil act because you're misinterpreting the word of evil, which is you're acting without complete or more complete. Let's say more complete, because nobody has complete knowledge.
Right. Complete knowledge would be like the divine, the source, the truth, that, the infinite.
Yeah.
And like I think you tweeted something about that before. Like, you can't, your brain can't fathom it. You can't see infiniteness. Right.
Well, that's zero.
Right. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Although I can on the weekends. Depends on how many beers I have.
Heyo. Yeah, so I feel good about that. I feel like we got somewhere there, yeah. And I think that's what I was trying to get at when you were like, I think you didn't have enough beers or too many, one of the two, and wanted to just end a bloodline.
Yeah, I mean,
and then it was like, no, it's the fucking structure, it's the incentive structure that's the issue. It's not these people. It's these people are operating within this structure. They're not inherently like evil, how society talks about evil right now. They're not acting with malicious intent and trying to harm anyone.
Right.
They're acting out of the best way they know how within this system.
Yep.
To perpetuate itself / have enough fucking money for themselves and their family or whatever, their future. Like, they're not. I think that's the problem, is that we're like looking at people as that they're opposite of us or not us. They're not a part of us and we're not a part of them, which I think is really, I think it's very detrimental. We are all one. We are all made of the same shit.
And
it's just people are operating within this system, and now we have this new fucking unbelievable system.
Ethereum. You're talking about Ethereum?
Here. No, for real. We have this new system available, right? Fucking blessed be Satoshi.
Blessed be.
Seriously. So now that's available. So now maybe it's our job to, keep on preaching and teaching that shit so people can understand that better and know now there's a different system to operate within, right?
Yeah.
That causes less harm. I think I ranted around there. I don't know if that made sense.
Yeah, no, that was fantastic. You could define less harm as making decisions with better information, and you could ultimately arrive at better informations with better price signals. Informations from price signals with a fixed price base ultimately becomes a fundamentally obvious answer in hindsight. And that's where I think we have a lot of anger and frustration, because once you begin operating in a fixed base unit of account, you can see things with clarity that wasn't there before. The fog that the Bitcoin sun burns off is pristine landscape of infinite vision, because the fixed set of rules sets the measuring tape. It um, it creates light speed decisions, and it becomes a universal form of speech that it just obsoletes everything we've known. And so once you step into that bubble of calm and serenity that is Bitcoin, you then have this vitriol of what are you dinosaurs doing? I mean, there's a right
Yeah.
there's a reason why
Mhm.
we're so um like we're being humble.
Mhm.
What I'm saying right now, I'm being humble in what I'm saying,
Mhm.
and it sounds like p- um it sounds insane, but until you step onto this platform, this arc of consistency, this this Vesuvian rocket ship. Um, I'm just rambling on, but
Mhm.
you you see things in a new light that you can't see unless you begin to use this new currency, this new
Mhm.
money, this new store of value, a way to measure your economic actions, a way to medium between your values and other people's values. And what we're trying to do here, I think, in this conversation, and it was just really helpful, was just to dig into um, better, you know, getting unlazy with our words. If you read 17, 18, 19th century writers,
Mm.
their words are so beautiful and lovely, but then you don't really appreciate like there's a precision there in the usage of the words. Now everything's well, this fucking fucker's fucked, and I'm the first to use that
Sure.
language because it's super
Sure.
helpful and super appropriate. But
Mhm.
again, the use of the word evil here, like we want to destroy these evil central bankers.
Mm.
But I think what we're basically arriving at is they're not evil. There may be a very small subset of bankers or central bankers or state politicians that are um, evil,
As in acting intentionally to make harm?
as
Is
in
that
precisely as an
okay.
intentful attempt to cause harm to
Mhm.
some group of people, like
Mhm.
specifically intentionally trying to do that. Outside of that, I think by and large, uh, 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 and I could even make the argument that you could make the argument, and I think this is also important that we might be a little too grandiose to define those small percentage of evil bankers as evil as willful intent. Because think about this. So let me just say this: uh, that small percentage of psychopathics that we think are perhaps evil, right? With an
Mhm.
intent to cause harm. They have children,
Mhm.
and they presumably want their children to have children. Okay, do they want their children or their children's children to have a healthy, happy life? And I think the answer is yes. It could be no.
Most likely.
I think we can assume yes. And if we can assume yes, then we can assume that they want to take actions to make sure that their children and grandchildren's life is better
Mhm.
or good,
Mhm.
not evil. And what that means then is that they need to stop performing or carrying out the practices that they're doing with the central banking, because what they're doing incentivizes a evil, bad, maliciously intentful, harmful world. And clearly that can't be the case. They can't want that harm
Mhm.
on their children and grandchildren. And so
Mhm.
therefore they are evil, not in the sense of malicious harm, the real use of the word, but rather in the Milton sense of the word. They don't understand that they're causing harm to their children and grandchildren because they don't have a complete set of information,
Mhm.
which is what Bitcoin paradigm provides. You can see things
Right.
in a clear light.
Mhm.
that fog of um, easy money burnt off.
Mhm. Whew. Whew. We got there.
Yeah, I didn't think we were going to.
Yeah, nailed it. Nailed it.
Far out.
Mhm.
Far fucking out.
Far fucking out.
Yeah, no, this was super awesome. I mean, you were like, "Can we talk about this evil thing?" I was like, "Yes, we have to talk about this because
Mhm.
I mean, you opened my eyes to it. I remember the DM, you're like, "No, I don't think this is what they mean by evil." And I was like, "What?" And then
Mhm.
you mentioned like this idea of sins and the Catholicism and Christianity and like how they so then we could go so just to
Right.
summarize, so we sort of drilled down evil and clarified the real meaning of the word
Mhm.
thanks to Milton.
Mhm.
And we clarified that these evil actors aren't necessarily evil, they're just dumb,
Right. Well, yeah, same thing as evil, right? Essentially
which is evil,
operating out of you don't have the whole picture.
correct. So, in other words,
Mhm.
so just to put the nail in the coffin here, evil is not malicious intent. Malicious intent is malicious intent. Evil is trying to do good for yourself, but you're dumb. Fair enough.
Mm.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, is that yeah, I mean that yeah.
So then, but the other thing you mentioned was like this idea of, and we're getting over almost an hour now, and I don't want to
Oh, dang.
take up too much of your time, but we maybe we'll do a part 3 in like next second half of this year. But basically, what you and we need the plebs to like soak this ideas in. I mean, we're talking about some heavy duty shit for sure.
Yeah, I want to hear responses. I want to hear other arguments or what have you. Like, I think that sharpens your shit, right? Like, you and I bouncing stuff off each other is awesome. I think we have very different backgrounds, and you're really helpful for me to like get some ideas out and bounce them off of you. But yeah, anyways, Carrie, yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, in fact, you told me like there was a tweet today from I think it was Surfer Jim.
Oh
He,
yeah.
he was responding basically like, are they malicious or are they?
Oh, the politicians or the bankers or something.
Yeah,
One of
yeah,
the, I forget which. Yeah.
yeah. Um, but but then I guess like so then the next excavation of these words would be, or rather like to to dust off the malicious intent on the actual use of these words
Hmm.
because I think evil's been just thrown around it's been just run through the gutter like some cheap whore, and we're just trying to polish her off and explain to her what she
Yeah.
really is.
I want to use her correctly.
And then the same goes for like you could say like the 7 deadly sins, like this whole
Hmm.
idea of religion, like Catholicism, using these words as in sort of an evil sense, where they're not necessarily. It's more like they're just like greed, not gluttony or greed. Like these are super useful tools that allow humans to survive, and like to treat them as some sort of harmful disease
Hmm.
is a disgusting it's a putrid use of the words, and it's just nothing but harmful because we all
Hmm.
have these useful 7 sins.
Hmm.
They're not sins, they're just useful things, and you got to understand how to use them, and know thyself, this old saying, right?
Yeah, you have to harness them, right? You have to harness them. And then these instinctual values, I think you can, if you harness them correctly, you can use them as virtues, right? That's what Bitcoin can do. Like greed, especially, number one, greed. I want mine, and I want mine for the future, for me and my family. That's greed, right? But Bitcoin turns that shit into a virtue. So, like, when we all utilize our greed and get ours, like, we all win, which is pretty cool. Like, I
In,
mean,
in versus the
whoa.
pyramid,
Mm-hmm.
mo-
For sure.
the pie grows larger. It doesn't get cut into infinite pieces.
Fucking this pizza shit, I can't. Yeah.
All right,
It's like
huh?
nothing. I'm just stuck on this sin idea now that you've brought it up. These transgressions against ourselves. They're not, we're not like, we don't need to get damned to eternal hell. We just need to be aware of what's within us and then utilize it accordingly. Like you said, know thyself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, the greatest trick by the church, the organized church, was to get humanity to fear life after death
Mm-hmm.
and make them and then capitalize on that fear
Mm-hmm.
by paying the church to absolve them of their sins.
Are you talking purgatory stuff and such, right?
Yeah. So
And tithing.
yeah, and so you can take the same blueprint and apply it to the state. So in the case of the state says you need to fear going to prison, hell, and if you don't commit these sins, these crimes, you won't go to prison, hell. But if you pay us attorney fees or bribes or lobbyists or priests, tithing, you won't go to prison. You won't go to hell. So you can see it's precisely the same blueprint. What they did, they said, okay, here's the church blueprint. We're going to create a fake fear, burning in hell for all eternity. We're going to create a fake way out of it. Pay us, and you won't go to prison, hell. But if you do commit these sins, you'll go to hell unless you pay us. It's precise. So what the brilliance of the state was, we're going to create a fake hell. We're going to call it prison, and but it's real, and you're going to go there. And here's the sins, the crimes that you're going to commit. Smoking a plant, whatever, just complete nonsense. And but you don't have to go to prison if you follow by the rules and join our club and pay some people to write some laws to make it legal for yourself and your friends. It's precisely the same blueprint. And the sooner people wake up to that fact, that not only is your church's idea of eternal hell bullshit, also your state's idea of eternal imprisonment is bullshit. It's all bullshit. They all make it up. It's all man-made, and they themselves can burn in hell, and they can fucking burn in hell forever. And there's no fucking way that they're touching my Bitcoin. Okay, I don't care what God or state wants to come down. It's never going to happen. It's never, ever, ever, never going to happen. And they're going to have to come to terms with our God, which is truth and mathematics. So they can go fuck themselves.
I need my staff right now to be
Hoorah!
Yeah, exactly. Precisely.
Till it ain't.
Mm-hmm.
Crushed it. Loved it. Beautiful.
Fun and pleasure.
Phenomenal pleb. Phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal. Keep doing what you're doing. Loved your thread. Satoshi and Bitcoin is the way. It's the light. It is everything. Any final closing thoughts?
Hodl.
Huddle on. Huddle on, you sovereign sons of bitches.
Damn straight.
Peace out.